Good morning from Patty's Garage. Today's going to be a big day, hopefully, because we're going to try to set up the motor and transmission to come out of Scarlett. One of the first things I want to do is thank Alan Kleinschmidt, Leonard Lee, and Nigel for the loan of a lot of this equipment. We've got a shop crane, engine stand at the ready, my small speed floor jack, but in order to get Scarlett up as high as we'd like to have her to work on this, getting the engine and transmission out without taking off the bonnet, Nigel has lent me his large floor jack. So, and then of course we've got the big Mamma Jamma jack stands as opposed to my little itty bitty ones over here that I normally use. So that's where we're, all this equipment is in place. A lot of it's already been used, but we're going to move on to doing a few more things to make this job just go a little bit easier. Well, we're getting closer to extracting the motor from the chassis. Alan brought over his bracket that attaches between the two rocker arm mounting points, and then we'll be hooking the hoist up to these bolts here. And at that point, fingers crossed, we've got enough clearance now down here to get this engine up. Right now the bonnet is raised more than enough to get this motor out, but it's supported by the lift that we're going to use to extract the engine. So I've got one more machine screw over here that is needs some help with extraction, and so we're going to keep working on that, because what we'd like to do is do a brace like we did on the other side and use the engine bonnet stays to keep the bonnet propped open while we remove the engine. So everything is should be disconnected. Hook up the hoist and pull this engine out of here. It may be that we just we hook onto it and hold it long enough to get the engine out, but we'll take that when it comes. Yeah. Do I need to get under and?
Can you push down on the gearbox?
Well, all right. The boys have left. Had a couple of helpers, Alan Kleinschmidt and Tom Robinson, stopped by to check on progress on Scarlett. As you can see, we've got the engine and transmission out. Got it up on the engine crane here. And situated on the workmate right now. We've got we're gonna have to get some. Still trying to figure out just exactly where I want to side mount it onto the engine stand. So I just need to get proper size, proper length. I'll get rid of we'll pull the distributor and starter, and that gives me a pretty flat plane along the side here. So I may bolt the adapter plate, this whole apparatus. It may get bolted flat against the block, or we may use the spacers that are built into that. But that is a success. That's one of those. I'll have to find my little character that with his hands raised. Says, that I love it when a job's complete. So we've got our new transmission ready to go in, all rebuilt. What was interesting, this is of course, this is the transmission that just came out, and we've got this much play back here in the drive shaft. And if we take a look here's the rebuilt one, and of course it doesn't move at all. So this guy over here was money well spent, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when this one comes apart. So that's going to be the process for tomorrow. We'll keep working on this, do some more dismantling, and we'll do some shop cleanup, obviously, before we start tearing into too many more things. So we'll get things organized. All right, so that's it for the day. Big thanks to the Illinois Flatland gang for helping supervise my engine and transmission removal. Good morning from Patty's Garage. This morning, I've already got up a little early, kind of excited about Scarlett's new engine removal and breakdown. So the first thing I needed to do was kind of clear the decks. Brought up a work table and started laying out some of the bolts, nuts, major accessory pieces off of the motor, so that these can all stay organized and over in kind of basically a clean area. Tools put back away, borrowed equipment, started to get that a little bit organized. Got the engine stand bracket, a mounting point, fairly well mocked up. I'm going to have to, whether that'll focus, get some additional washers to level out this plate. But I've got, right now I've got two mounting points, one up on the alternator bracket, and then a second one down at the, what would that be? That would be the oil filter hole down there, which is a larger bolt. So smaller bolt, larger bolt, two mounting points. It'll slide so that it's fairly well centered. I'll get that as best I can, get everything all leveled out. So hopefully that will be the side mount that will go onto the engine stand. And then we can I can take it off the crane, get that folded up, and get a little more working room. I took the bell housing transmission off. Things are looking, I think, pretty darn good. Everything was nice and clean in there anyway. And eventually the clutch plate, disc, pressure plate will come off of there. Flywheel will come off. This backing plate will come off. I have to do all of that to get to this guy right here. That's the oil pump. And that's one of the things I wanted to check on early on, and I can do that without getting all aggressive on the rest of the engine. But here's the two transmissions. This one on the right is the the one that came off. Still got its throwout bearing. This is the one that's tagged. This is the new one. Things look kind of semi-normal, but I think once we get a new throwout bearing, you'll see that there is significant wear. I'll have to measure that out and see just exactly how much carbon disc was remaining before you'd start to get right down to the throwout bearing mounting. So one of the things we want to note is just how much play is here. I don't have a float gauge, to measure that, just how much that's deflecting up and down, but it's significant. Scarlett's transmission was definitely rattling in first gear, started to smooth out once you got into second, third, fourth. This is a non-synchro first gear transmission. So this is the rebuilt. Everything is nice and clean in there. I'll be taking off the throwout bearing and all that hardware will get remounted over here into this bell housing. But this one, while there is just, I don't know if I can get steady enough. While there's just a little bit of play on here, that's just exactly the way it's supposed to be. But what's not necessarily focusing real well, but that's the way it's supposed to be, not like that. So that's where we stand right now. We'll continue on, but I just want to get a record shot of where we were with transmissions just as we start to tear down the engine block. And I'll refilm once I start getting some additional pieces off the back of the motor, and when we get it on the engine stand. Head removed, push rods removed, studs are still in place. Eventually those will be coming out as well. I have placed all of the push rods in order. That's always best practice to get those back where they belong. I've got all the nuts, and of course nut with the stud on it, in the order that they came off of. And what I'm going to do, though, however, I bought this way back when, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when it was on sale. I've got a set of ARP bolts and studs, and these are for a BMC A-Series 9-stud head stud kit. So it's got their instructions, lubricant, and brand new bolts. So all of the plan is that, if I've mentioned it before, that this head over here came along with my yellow Bugeye, Sir Walter Raleigh, and it is for a 1098 engine, which is uses the same head gasket and fits right onto a 948, but it is an improved design. It's got larger intakes. This head has already been completely rebuilt, and I'll go into more detail on that when we get around to that process. But it's going to go on to this engine. The only modification necessary is it has to be shaved about 60 thousandths in order to build back compression, because the upper chamber of where the valves are got increased, and so it needs to be shaved a little bit to maintain proper compression with a 948 engine. All right, well, we are down to the short block. So here's where the interesting parts come from. Tell you what, I'll kind of spin around over here. Get this out where maybe there's a little more light. I'll move it over here to the chair. So there's the inside of the oil pan. I don't see anything in there that's just a little sludge. I don't feel anything that is. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's the other side of the drain plug, the magnetic portion of the drain plug. Yeah, so I don't see anything in here that is of note. No particular amount of sludge, not a lot of metal, shavings, any of those kinds of things. So that's all good news. Oil strainer, not all gunked up. Yeah, so come around over this way. See if I see any numbers. Okay, there's I guess that's an O2. There's a 2A 842 on the main bearing cap. I don't see anything on this one. So that was that's the rear main bearing cap. Yeah. So that's about as exciting as it gets. We are we're down to the business end here. So I'm going to go ahead, take a little break right now, have a little breakfast, and when Alan comes over, maybe I'll let him kind of get a first-hand look. Good morning from Patty's Garage. I've got my helpers out in the back, so let's head on in. We got a beautiful fall day to be working out here in Patty's Garage. The clean area, quote unquote, the clean area is getting more and more full of parts as we start removing things. And we've got a little bit of organizing to do, but before I kind of get into cleaning everything back up again, I've started to remove the one of the side tappet covers, the lifters, as I was rotating the crankshaft around to do a little bit of inspection. They would drop out and kind of jam into the crankshaft or the cam, one of the two, but anyway, it was preventing the rotation of the crankshaft. So I decided to just go ahead and take off the tappet covers, remove the lifters, and then that can help facilitate moving the crankshaft around and doing a little bit more inspection. I've got my little box over here where the push rods have been numbered. The head studs, nuts have been laid out in the same order, and I'm doing the same thing with the lifters, just to kind of keep everything in line. As I've mentioned before, we'll be switching out head studs and some of that sort of thing, but I did want to just get those removed, keep them in the same place, and then we'll take a little closer look as we move on. The front tappet cover has the on this 948 engine, it's just got a pipe a breather pipe that just comes out and just charges out into the atmosphere. No catch can or anything like that on this old engine. So I'll just connect that up here, and then we'll take off the tappet cover. The other one, this is the one that came off of there. It's certainly in good shape, but I think the cork washer has seen better days, and of course whoever the previous owner was or the builder use some RTV to kind of glue everything down. They use some on the threads too, and just anything that helps stop oil from leaking out the side of the motor. Little prying with my multi-tool, and this guy should come right off. There we go. That's off. There we. I don't know if there's any much use of trying to figure out which ones these are, because as I rotated the engine, they just kind of dropped to the bottom. But we'll guess as best we can what the location is on these lifters. So here are all of the lifters placed in, hopefully, or approximately, their correct position from, we're going left to right. So number 1, 2, 3, 4 on up to number 8. And I'd have to assume that these are, this one does have a little bit of, what would you call it, pitting on it. Some are a little smoother than others. I'd say that number 4 is has the most kind of little pitting to the top of it. But one has to assume that this engine is, let's say it's original or certainly period. And so it's going to be 60, 65 years old, and these are probably the original valve lifters. And all in all, don't look too awful bad. Maybe one of my expert friends will chime in with an opinion on these. We've got the tappet covers. They don't appear to have any damage. This one's kind of, it's got the little area that's allow gases to escape. The gaskets on these, I think, they've certainly seen better days. Probably have been removed and replaced, just to replace the existing gaskets on them. They just seem awful thin to me from gaskets that I've seen. I've got a pair of silicone gaskets that came with the purchase of Sir Walter Raleigh, Wally, the yellow one. But I don't know. I just like the looks of the cork ones. And as few miles as this car is going to get, when I get a gasket set, I'll probably put cork back in here. I'll scrape these all clean and put cork back in. One of the things I thought I'd check out while I've got the head off is just exactly how the existing timing marks. So we've got the yellow V up on the pulley to the long tooth in the front would be top dead center, and then the white marks are another 5 degrees off, so 5 degrees before top dead center. And I've got, get up here a little bit, I had fashioned a little pointer up on the timing cover, and that mark looks pretty darn good too. When we get all, really down to business on this stuff, I'll really take a look at it while it's out of the engine to make sure things get marked. And then finally, the most important thing is this front piston at top dead center, and it is. So that kind of gives some assurance that the timing marks and the actual position of the piston are accurate. We haven't skipped a tooth or a gear or something on the timing chain, and so all of that looks good. So my next process or idea is I'd kind of like to, I don't know what the best practice is for cleaning the carbon deposits on the tops of the pistons is while they're still in the block. Maybe it's best just to take when they're out to clean them up, but I'd kind of like to get an idea of, are these still standard pistons, standard bores, that sort of thing. I don't have the gauge to measure really either one of them accurately, but I think I think maybe Nigel's got one of those gauges. I think I saw him when he was checking some end float on the rear end of his TR3. So I might have to call him into action to see if I can borrow one more of his tools. This is going to the machine shop. There's no question about that. But just as out of curiosity, I'd kind of like to know what's going on. So I'll probably, one of the next easiest things to do is take out all these head studs. And of course, those are all going to get marked, but they are different lengths. And there may even be 3 different lengths. I'm not real sure on this. But I know that there are certainly tall ones and short ones. And so we'll want to make note of that, because when I go to put the ARP studs in, they'll want to be in the correct position. Okay, well, the easiest way to do this is to, I don't know if it's called the double nut method, where you thread one bolt, one nut on, then a second one, tighten those 2 together, and then spin the bottom one, and the stud should come right back out again. I'm going to, as I take these off, I'm going to number them 8, 4, 2, 6, so forth, just like the tightening and loosening method is for the head. But I'll number those studs in the same fashion, and then I'll be able to match those up to the ARP studs. Well, all of the head studs are out of the block. There's one missing in this row, actually number 1, because it came out over here when I removed the nut. The stud came right with it. So all of the head studs are out and labeled. Block is looking more and more naked every day. What I wanted to make note of is that there are markings on the block. So there's a square or a triangle, whatever. I guess it'd be kind of a square with a number 2 in it, and there are actually, several of those. There's one here, and there is one there. So down the length of the block are those stampings with a number 2 in there. So I guess that's somewhat of an indication that this block has never been decked. So it's going to be its original height, and we'll check the height of the head as well, just out of curiosity, to see if it's the same height as the 1098 head that we're going to be putting back on this. So right now we're at top dead center on number 1, and I should find a flashlight, I guess, but the bores look very good, no ridges. We've got a little bit of carbon buildup. Where's my? Get back in here. The tappet cover is removed. No real indication of sludge or anything wrong on the inside there. So this is all still looking very good. Very good, with the exception of rod and main bearings needing to be replaced just due to wear. So we'll proceed on. I'll probably take this, certainly take the fan off for the machine shop, but probably leave the timing cover on, main pulley. I'm curious just to see what that chain looks like, but we'll see if curiosity gets the better of me. But for now, I'm going to do just a little bit of research to see what people do if they take the pistons out, then clean them up. Which reminds me, Mike Gibson gave me a set of old pistons. Let me see if I can find those. Well, I found these. These are from my Bugeye friend, Mike Gibson. He had a set of old pistons. I said, sure, I'll take them. I figured, well, I'll make a pencil holder or a ward or something of these things. But I hit them with a light scrub on some. Let me see if I can. There's a number. If you can, there we go. So inside diameter, there we go. Inside diameter is 25. I guess that's what the ID 25 is. I don't see any other. Wait a second, what's this one here? There's another one over here. Figure out what direction it is to. Oh, for crying out loud. There we go. So that's plus 20 on this piston, plus 20. So I'm going to assume, here, let me do this bad boy. There we go. That's a little better. So there we go. There's a nice shot. So that's plus 20 oversized pistons. So I'm going to assume that all of my pistons are going to have a similar stamping on them. So I'll see if I can't see what that is. Okay, well, I took a little Scotch Sprite to the number one piston, and let me come around this direction here. Let me kind of zoom in. Okay, we can see that is plus 40. So that's probably why the compression and bores seem so good, because this engine was probably rebuilt, new pistons, new rings in the final stages of its life. So that's the good news. The bad news is that's the last. You're not gonna. They may make a plus 60. I'm not real sure about that. That's possible. So we can go one more bore, but it is so it's been bored out a little bit. All the more reason, I suppose. We got a little bit larger pistons. That's larger displacement. We're going to be putting a 1098 head on it. So as long as maybe we'll just put a new set of rings in, as long as we're here, and we'll call it good.